moving on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember.
From high atop the iRacing blimp, welcome to the CleanRacing.net Truck Series season finale. It's all down to this. Tony Trapasso up the booth with you for this one. Wouldn't miss it for the world, folks. As we're going to take a quick look at the point standings coming in tonight. Matt Batby clinched. Nobody's catching Matt Batby. He is here tonight, but nobody's touching him. Kevin Becker and Michael Anthony still going to slug it out for second place. Unfortunately, Michael Anthony not here yet. So that does mean Greg Barnett, Lane Hosler, or Greg Barnett can move into third. Lane Hosler has a chance to jump into third with a win. And, I mean, you can see just how close these point standings are for a lot of these spots. 1 to 3 point separation for a lot of them. And matter of fact, we've got a tie back in 15th with Evan Kinney and Abram Gaston. So take a quick look at the weather conditions coming into tonight. 2-mile-an-hour winds straight north, 77-degree ambient air temperature, 81-degree track temperature, as it's about almost 8 o'clock in sim time. So we are going to kill that, and we are going to kill that, just to make sure we don't have any glitches coming into the qualifying session that is about to kick off here in about 20 seconds. Thank you so much for making us a part of your Monday evening. We will be taking a brief hiatus as I'm looking at the notes from the league right now, and they are planning to fire off season 13 on December 5th. So, taking a brief hiatus for some holiday stuff, give everybody a chance to decompress after what has been a very tough season for a lot of these drivers. Matt Batby, of course, coming into tonight with 5 wins on the season. And let me see if I can see Batby is not here. Deciding to phone this one in. But James Lowe is definitely here, looking to make some progress in the point standings. Greg Barnett is here, looking to make some headway in his standings, as we are just waiting for the first couple of drivers to start to roll it. And surprise, surprise, man who usually is one of the first to roll it, that SimCube Toyota of James Lowe coming out on track first. Kevin Becker right there with him in the Bigfoot Chevy. Nate Brown, you're killing me. Nate Brown doing the paints for Kevin Becker and putting Bigfoot paint on a Chevy. I don't know which hurts worse at this point, my heart or my brain. Speaking of Nate Brown, there he is in the Gravedigger. Oh, God. It's going to be one of those nights, folks. Nate Brown in the Gravedigger Toyota. Come on, Nate. At least put that on a Chevy. Damn it. Oh, good grief. As we're going to go back to Kevin Becker's, he's going to be one of the first ones to lay a time down. He and Jeremy Morrison, the closest. That's provisional pole. James Lowe jumps up to P1. What a lap. First one to go sub 31 here tonight. Evan Kitty's going to slot into second. There he is. I'm kind of digging that paint scheme. Black Rifle Coffee Company. Subaru Hoonigan. Digging it, digging it. There's Brian Toole in the Kubota 99. Defending series champion who could still podium for his second straight season, Greg Barnett, one of the longtime runners here in the CleanRacing.net Truck Series. It was amazing to see him win last season's championship at the last race of the season. Sideways off of 4. No, we're not in Tokyo, Greg. You're not supposed to drift the corners. Drops him down to 5th. Zach Dauscher, there he is in the 84 tonight for the Trailer Park Boys. Joey Steyer's in the house, looking to get his 22nd win in his CleanRacing.net career. Stephen Tuck in the Liberty 10. Brian Woodruff making another start with the series. Made his debut last week. Had a solid run. There's Chris Smith in the Mobile 1 Toyota. And, of course, Lane Hosler in the Hosler Fencing in construction, number 61. Different paint scheme on that tonight. Oh, good grief, it's another Bigfoot paint scheme. At least this one's on a Ford. Hey, Lane, at least, thank you. Thank you for leaving it on a Ford. I appreciate you. Oh, good grief. Hosler on the clock now. Goes green in the first sector. It's a solid lap for him. 15.55 through the middle of the backstretch. Not too shabby. Should put him top 10. And just like that, Lane Hosler, 11th quick. I was wrong. Gave up a lot in that second sector. As we are getting ready, Lane might get this lap in. He should get this lap in. So Nate Brown goes 9th quick. And second lap for Hosler, a little more stable. 3rd quick. Nice lap for the Bigfoot truck. 24 seconds left here in the qualifying session. And you can see the sun continuing to set. Excuse me. Continuing to set. So we are going to be racing under the lights here. Getting ready to call an end to the qualifying session. There we go. Timer's at 0. And we are going to show your qualifying grid now. As James Lowe sets quick time, 30.323. What a lap. Good grief. Joey Steyer's going 2nd quick. Almost a 10th slower. So that's an amazing lap from Lowe. Lane Hosler going to slide into 3rd. He's going to be joined in row 2 with Brian Toole. Kevin Becker and Evan Kinney making up row number 3. Row 4 is going to Zach Tauscher and Greg Barnett. Chris Smith and Nate Brown going to roll it from row number 5, with row 6 going to Stephen Tuck and Jeremy Morrison. Row 7 is going to see Avram Gaston and Blaine Woodruff. Sorry, Blaine, I freaked. Blaine warned me about that last week. I apologize, Blaine. Blaine Woodruff in the 71 outside row number 2. Scott Winsett not setting a time in qualifying. As a matter of fact, Stephen Tuck in row 6 was the last one to lay a time. Everyone else will end up by their I rating. So row number 8 is going to go to Scott Winsett and Dan Sykes, with Fred Garcia and Jason Higginbottom making a return to the league, not laying a time in qualifying. We haven't seen Jason a lot this season, but when we have, he's definitely put up some numbers. So that is your starting grid here as the iRacing pace car starts to roll it. Thank you so much again for making us a part of your Monday evening. If you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. It does help the channel grow and make ourselves available to more eyeballs with the more thumbs up these videos get. And I've noticed that over half of you that watch these aren't yet subscribed. You don't want to miss a single moment of action, as we still have racing 7 days a week. Even coming into the holiday season, we have some series that are not ending. So you don't want to miss a single moment of action, as we have some great broadcast teams bringing the action to you 7 days a week. And a lot of the times, we have 3 and 4 races every day. As a matter of fact, this is one of 3 tonight. Let me just go over what is going on tonight. The SEL International Cup Series and the Elite Entertainment ARCA Series, both those shows going live momentarily. As the field working its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left for me to say is, it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Scramble out, grab some popcorn, because it's time to get it on in the Queen City. Race fans, it's showtime! As we are underway here at Charlotte, James Lowe with the nose out front going into turn number 1. Lowe is going to lead lap 1. Joey Steyer slotting into 2nd. Lane Holzer giving Steyers a little bit of pressure right now. Nothing too egregious. Chris Smith, Jeremy Morrison side by side, as that's Morrison working the top shelf. That second groove has been the where you want to be at Charlotte as of late. Nate Brown now feeling the pressure from Morrison. shuts the door on him coming through 4. Morrison loses a little bit of momentum. That's going to help, if only momentarily. These guys getting single filed out. Kevin Becker getting a little chippy back there in his Toyota. Wants to get around that Chevy in front of him that is painted just wrong. I mean, there's so many Chevys you could have gone with. USA 1, for example, on a Chevy. That I can deal with. But you got two Bigfoot paint schemes going after each other right now. It's Kevin Becker looking in the inside of Hosler. Hosler running the second lane to try to use that momentum. The only problem is we found it burns the right rear tire out because you're really putting pressure on that side of the truck. And here comes the 24 of Becker side by side with Zach Dauscher. Dauscher gets by using that second lane. Next up is going to be Evan Kinney in the Hoonigan Subaru. Okay. Why me? Seriously, why? Why me, Lord? We've got a Bigfoot paint scheme on a Chevy. We've got a Subaru paint scheme, again, on a Chevy. Why? Thank you, Greg Barnett, for running a Ford. POW MIA, as always. Could possibly gain third position here tonight, as now Hosler's going to give up third place to Dauscher. As he's got Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys on the hood. Digging it, digging it. And I got to admit, the Canadians have come up with some amazing comedy shows. It started with the Trailer Park Boys about 10, 15 years ago. And then it moved to the latest one, Letterkenny and Shorzy. Out of the mind of Jared Kiso. And, I mean, just, if you haven't watched, see, Trailer Park Boys is it's a dark comedy. They really do some messed up things. Whereas Letterkenny and Shorzy's based on hockey. Digging it already. As I'm actually wearing my Sabres hoodie right now. But Shorzy focuses on hockey and comedy around that. And, the dichotomy of a team and so on. It started with Letterkenny, that Shorzy was a character you never saw his face. But it was Jared voicing it, who plays Wayne on Letterkenny. And what they're doing is, Letterkenny is going to be shown in the wintertime because they film it in the summer. Shorzy is going to be shown in the summertime because they film it in the winter during hockey season. So, between those two shows, you owe it to yourself to at least take a look. If you have Hulu, you can find both shows. And they did a short for a while there called Little Kenny. And it shows basically how the group from Letterkenny basically met each other. And then you watch Letterkenny, and there were shorts on YouTube for a while called Letterkenny Problems. I would start there, so you get the jokes in the series. But, Trailer Park Boys still around and kicking. They can be found on SwearNet. It's a subscription service that does not edit its shows, and the people doing the show actually don't hold back. News shows to where they're speaking normal speak, where there are those of us that use swear words as commas. And that's what they do on SwearNet. But, you can find the Trailer Park Boys there. Again, check out Letterkenny as well. Checking in with the race leader. There he is, James Lowe. in that SimCube 77 Toyota. 2 seconds to the good already. As right now the battle for a second still hot and heavy. As Stoucher gets around Joey Stiers. Stiers trying to keep him honest here. Greg Barnett and Evan Kinney now side by side. They finally make that happen. The Subaru of Evan Kinney gets around the Ford of... my brain hurts. Stiers now with a nose out front on Doucher. Full fuel fill here tonight. As let me just take a look here. 4 sets of tires. They start the race on 1, and they've got the lane 3 in the pits. 120 laps of scheduled distance here tonight. We are going to finish under the lights. As here comes Hosler, shot out of a cannon. Wow, what a run. Hosler starting to turn the wick up now. As James Lowe is now 2.5 seconds up the road from these guys. They should just get single file and just try to run down Lowe right now. But they're too busy racing with each other. Because what do you get with 20 Type A personalities in one sim? Or 19 anyways. As unfortunately Jason Higginbottom did not start this piece. So 17 trucks did start. 17 trucks still running on the lead lap for now. Stiers, Hosler, and Doucher are just all over each other right now. Hosler's going to take top shelf to try to get that run down the hill off the banking in the turn. Relatively flat straightaways here at Charlotte as they come through the dogleg. Now Stiers goes up to try to take the air off of Hosler's nose. And again, Lane Hosler, thank you so much for running an appropriate Ford paint scheme on a Ford. Out of Hamilton, I believe that's in Ohio, he told me. But yeah, you can see the Bigfoot paint on there. Bigfoot 7 or 8 is what that's based on. The first tube truck with nitrogen shocks is when that paint scheme first appeared on a blue Ford back in 91 or 92. And it basically, that truck became the blueprint for every monster truck that has come after it. You know, everybody saw what the Bigfoot team was doing. They actually outlawed the truck for about 6 months to let the other teams try to catch up. And catch up they did, and then they released that thing to the outdoor racing, and they found that there were some problems with the speed of that truck. It became highly unstable, so they had to start putting sway bars on these things, which is something nobody ever considered before. And it really helped make these trucks safer. You know, because in the early days of monster trucks, you basically went to a junkyard, bought a truck shell, and then built the chassis underneath it. And you couldn't really see where you were going with the wheels as high as they were. Whereas the Bigfoot truck, it was a fiberglass shell over top of a tube frame chassis. As now Hosler moved up into second. Stiers pushing him through the dogleg right now. And of the people that I have seen bump drafting anywhere, Joey Stiers, James Lowe, Lane Hosler are the 3 that come to mind that I don't flinch when they're in my rearview mirror pushing me down straightaway. But right now, James Lowe now out to a 3-second lead after all that fighting between Hosler, Stires, and Douscher. As Hosler's starting to chip into that lead ever so slightly. Checking back in with defending series champion Greg Barnett. That's Stephen Tuck working his way around the inside. Blaine Woodruff, the rookie, there he is in the 71. Hanging in there. Working the inside of Barnett now. And Barnett's going to let him go. No, there's a lot of racing left. We're only on lap 23 right now. As checking in with Brian Poole and Kevin Becker. Sorry, that's Brian Poole and Evan Kinney in the Toyota. Becker's in front of these two. Stires and Douscher starting to heat things up again. Stires running that second lane, getting the runs off the corners. Douscher can go in a little bit harder. Stires, though, able to let the truck hang out and roll into the trigger a little bit sooner. And now they're just playing follow the leader. And that's calmed down a little bit. Adam Gaston and Scott Winsett working each other for 11th place, side by side. That's Winsett on the top shelf in the plain white wrapper. Gaston on the bottom in that Fanatec blue Chevy. So Ford on Chevy action here. And we've got Ford on Toyota action as well with Toole and Becker going after each other now. Becker caught on that high side. Toole's just going to send it up the inside. And I have to say, I had a chance to meet the team that fields that truck in the real world of NASCAR. They gave us some great hospitality when I was down in Miami Homestead, and I mean, just a great group of people. Very solid truck, and if they stay together, they're gonna go for a championship next season. They actually won stage 1 of the Homestead Miami race in that truck with the Kubota sponsorship. Thanks, Mike Damone, for hooking us up with that one. But yeah, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of the team that fielded that truck. And right now, I can't remember the name of the damn team because I'm having a brain fart, folks. I'd apologize. If you know the name of the team, go ahead and roast me in the comments. There's Dan Sykes and Jeremy Morrison running it out right now. Morrison may have burned the tires off that thing because he was running real hot and heavy in the early going. He's fallen back to 14th. This is 13th and 14th going after each other. Sykes up 2, Morrison -1 so far. Your biggest mover is Blaine Woodruff in the 71. There he is, following Stephen Tuck around. Woodruff currently sits +5. And something happened to Nate Brown. And I don't have what happened, but Brown is now 2 laps down after spending a minute and a half on pit road. And I don't see a ton of damage on this side of the truck. Let's see if there's any on the other side. So I'm thinking something happened to the Gravedigger Toyota. Oh, yeah. She's grated the right side of the truck. Nate, that's not helpful on a track that's very aerodependent, like Charlotte. Checking back in with the battle for 7th. Becker, Tuck, and Woodruff all over each other right now. More so Tuck and Becker, as unfortunately Becker may have burned his tires up in the early going. He was running a lot faster lap times than he is right now. This is your closest battle on track, as there is Kevin Becker. And there is Stephen Tuck in the Toyota. This is your closest battle on track right now, as they're both reeling in Evan Kinney. So that's a little bit scary. As much as these guys are battling, they're still reeling in the Subaru of Evan Kinney. Why me? I love the creativity of the iRacing servers. And, the painters that are out there. There's another series that we broadcast on Thursday afternoons called the Svenska iRacing Ligan, Swedish iRacing. And most of their oval series consists of Chevy Camaros and Volvos. Let me say that again. Chevy Camaros and Volvos. They have taken the Ford Mustang and changed it into a Volvo. As working lap 33 of 120, Joey Steyer's the first one to flinch to go down pit road. As we go back to this fight between Becker and Tuck. Evan Kinney starting to pull a gap as the 75 of Jeremy Morrison comes back out after it looks like he may have cheese grated the right side of that truck as well, spending about the same amount of time that Nate Brown stayed on pit road to try to get those fenders rolled back out so you don't cut the tire down on the right side. Meanwhile, Tuck looks to the inside of Becker going into one. Buckner slams the door. Up in the front, there is your race leader, James Lowe. Currently at a comfortable 4-second lead right now over this man in the Bigfoot Ford. Again, thank you, Lane Hosler, for running an appropriate truck for that paint scheme. Being ya. Nate Brown, you and I need to talk after this race. I dig the creativity, but come on, man. As we take a look at the other Bigfoot paint scheme, the Bigfoot Odyssey on a Chevy. Yeah, no thanks. As we are going to go back and take a look at Nate Brown. There he is in the Gravedigger. Now, 2 truck models would be acceptable for the Gravedigger. Originally, it was a 53 Ford panel van. It later switched to a 55 Chevy panel van. So either a Ford or a Chevy would be appropriate for that paint scheme. And being as it's got Bush on there, that would lead me to believe that it's based on Kevin Harvick's car from, I believe, 2 years ago, that his son picked whatever monster truck he wanted, and they wanted Gravedigger. And that was on a Ford. And the first Gravedigger was a Ford, so Dennis Anderson was on board with that. It would also be appropriate on a Chevy, considering that's the current make of body that the Gravedigger is. Checking back in with Becker and Tuck, still all over each other, and they have caught Evan Kinney. There's the Subaru of Kinney, the Hoonigan Subaru. Lane Hosler starting to chip into that lead a little bit that James Lowe has. It was 4.5 seconds. It's now down to 4.399. And it looks like Hosler's faster in turns 3 and 4, whereas Lowe is a little bit quicker through 1 and 2. And just as I say that, James Lowe makes a liar out of me. Now it's 4.9. 4.09, I should say. As that is Stephen Tuck, who has finally gotten around Evan Kinney. Liberty University, number 10. Stretching its legs now. 0.2 to the good. It means Becker was holding up tough. As James Lowe comes down pit side. Hosler also comes pit side. They hands the lead of the race over to the 84 of Dauscher. As Joey Stiers gets his lap back the hard way. Stiers last time by 31.05. Dauscher's last lap 32.65. So a second and a half or better on the fresh shoes. And it's exactly what James Lowe is seeing, Lane Hosler as well. Abram Gaston also goes down pit road. Fred Garcia is down pit road. Here comes Dauscher, handing the lead of the race over to that man in the Subaru of Evan Kinney. Kinney going to get credited with leading the lap, and that is all important in the point standings coming into tonight. Bonus points for leading the lap, bonus points for pole, bonus points for clean race. I believe it's 2 for a clean race. So that's what everybody's looking to do. As Blaine Woodruff also takes it pit side. Kenny, there is James Lowe's down and away as he's now up to speed. Let's see what this next lap is going to be for Lowe. Still on his out lap. As Kenny continues to show the way, there's the 99 Tool getting his lap back the hard way. Trying to reel in James Lowe right now. Lowe is your effective... No, Joey Stiers, your effective race leader. As he's got 4 seconds on Lowe right now. But we know that's not enough. It's Blaine Woodruff and Greg Barnett slugging it out. We still have Evan Kenny, Stephen Tuck, Kevin Becker, and Scott Winsett all to still come down pit road. And there is your effective race leader. Almost half the distance of the back straightaway in front of James Lowe, who was your pole sitter and led the first portion of this event. The Mackinac, Illinois native currently has 21 CleanRacing.net wins, wants tonight to be 22. He's a 4-time past champion here as Lowe just reset fastest lap of the race with a 30.43. That's a full 0.2 to the good over anyone else. Wow. And I take that back. Greg Barnett went 30.54, which is now the second quickest lap of the race. Stephen Tuck peels off to come pit side. There he is. As we're taking a look at your current race leader, still having come down pit road for service of any kind. That's Subaru of Evan Kinney, the Hoonigan Subaru, I should say. Based on one of Travis Pastrana's race cars. And we all know Travis Pastrana knows how to hoon it up when it's necessary. So with that, we're still waiting for green flag pit stops. We are going to go side by side, and we'll be back right after this.
Hey, this is Steven Cherrick. I'm the rear tire changer on the number 24 GMS Chevrolet, and you're watching Sim Racing Media.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
Hey, this is Steven Cherrick. I'm the rear tire changer on the number 24 GMS Chevrolet, and you're watching Sim Racing Media.
And we are back live at Charlotte for the season finale of the CleanRacing.net Season 12 Truck Series. Tony Trabasso in the booth with you for this one. Thank you so much for making this part of your Monday evening. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. You may not think it does, but it helps immensely. Chris Worrell checking in. Go get him, James. Of course, he is currently your race leader. And we're checking in. There is Evan Kinney in the Subaru. Why does my head hurt when I see this? Cheryl, thank you so much for making us part of your evening. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It really does help to get notified when these races go live. As a matter of fact, these guys are going to be back on December 5th as they kick off season 14. So season 13 getting ready to wind up right now. I may have said season 12 earlier. I do apologize. Season 13 in the books after tonight. James Lowe, your current race leader, as we are following the Freeville, New York native of Evan Kinney in that Hoonigan Subaru. I remember when Subaru made a truck back in the 80s. They called it the Brat. And I'll tell you right now, you were hard-pressed to try to kill that thing. As a matter of fact, a good buddy of mine has one that he's, and I use this term loosely, restored. He bought a wrecked WRX and put the Brat on top of the WRX frame and drivetrain. And you want to talk about a fun vehicle to drive. Oh my goodness. With a good tune and a good turbo on it, he's making about 400 horsepower to the wheels. And I'll tell you right now, that thing runs like a scalded dog. Subaru knows how to make some vehicles. I actually, I admit this, I own a Subaru Forester. And one of the most comfortable driving vehicles I have ever owned. People that ride in the passenger seat always they doze off when we're going anywhere in that vehicle. 30-minute commute to the next town over, and I have to wake my passenger up, and it's kind of funny to me. But yeah, no, Subaru makes some decent vehicles. And Subaru, if you're listening, you make a car that's the same size as those being used in the NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series. All you got to do is figure out how to make a V8 engine, and we're golden. Or maybe a flat 8. That would be cool. So that's enough talk about Subarus. Let's take a look back at this race. Closest battle on track is this 1 for a 10th between the 25 of Kevin Becker and the 10 of Stephen Tuck. There's Tuck's Toyota. And this hurts every time I have to say it. The Bigfoot Chevy of Kevin Becker. Nate Brown, I love your creativity, but seriously, this one hurts my heart. Now Becker trying to make a run on Barnett. Had a good run going through turn 2. Has the momentum going into 3. Drag race. Door, quarter, beer. Just like that, Kevin Becker up into 9th. Stephen Tuck immediately follows him through, putting Barnett back to 11th. Again, we're going to take a look at the point standings coming into tonight as we overlay this. With Michael Anthony not here, Barnett should move into 3rd unless Hosler wins the race. It's going to be tight for the final step of the podium. As checking back in, Chris Smith, currently 14th, not having a good night of it. Getting ready to go a lap down to Barnett. As Stephen Tuck sits in front of Barnett, but he's behind by about 10 markers. So Tuck's got to finish in the top 5 with Barnett out of the top 10 for him to be able to jump him. Lane Hosler currently sits in 2nd place. There he is. And James Lowe is 9 seconds up the road. As we're watching Hosler in the Bigfoot Ford. Again, that paint scheme based on either Bigfoot 7 or Bigfoot 8, and I forget which one it was. Let me Google that real quick. Okay, 7 was the Monster with those huge tires that stand over 10 feet tall, which means it's Bigfoot 8, which was one of the first full tube chassis nitrogen shock trucks it basically became the blueprint for all the monster trucks to come after that. Checking in with Abram Gaston as he works into the top 10. He's just gotten by Greg Barnett, as Barnett seems to be having a little bit of trouble here. We're going to take a look and see if there's any damage on the right side of that POW MIA Ford. Clean as a whistle. Greg going after that bonus point then for clean race. Joey Stiers is having trouble right now. He was the effective race lead, has since slipped to 7th, as he does have some of the oldest tires on track right now. There's Blaine Woodruff, who has gotten by Stiers and starting to pull a gap very quickly. As you're about 10 lap difference in those tires. Stiers was down on lap 32. Everyone else lap 40 or later. As there is James Lowe with a comfortable 9.5 second lead over Lane Hosler. There is Hosler about the entirety of the 1-2 complex of corners to the rear of James Lowe. There he is coming out of 2. Lowe is going into 3. So the distance of the back straightaway. Then we go back to Zach Dauscher in the 84, currently sitting in 3rd. Rocking the Trailer Park Boys tonight. And he's 2.5 seconds behind Hosler. So there's Hosler going into 1. And there's Dauscher just coming out of the dogleg. And you go back to Brian Toole. There he is, as he's getting passed up by Nate Brown, who just came down on lap 59 to get service done on that truck. And then you're 1.5 back to Evan Kinney. There's Blaine Woodruff trying to reel Kinney in. Joey Steyer's continuing to have trouble. See if we can see any damage on the right side of the 23. Steyer's coming to pit. Right around the same distance that he came in last time. Stretched this tank a little bit further. Didn't have to idle it on pit road waiting for the grid. So Steyer's going to relinquish his top 10 for now as Lowe flashes by. Only 10 trucks currently on the lead lap. James Lowe, Lane Hosler, Zach Dauscher, Brian Toole, Evan Kinney, Blaine Woodruff, Kevin Becker, Stephen Tuck, Abram Gaston, and that man, Greg Barnett, is the last truck on the lead lap, about 2 3/4 seconds to the arrears of Abram Gaston. There is Gaston in the 63 Fanatec Chevy. Checking back in with Stephen Tuck in the Liberty Toyota. Liberty University, of course. As things are starting to heat up here for 3rd. Brian Toole is having a great run here tonight. Qualified 4th, currently runs in the number 4 spot, and closing in on Dauscher. And Zach, I know I'm butchering your last name. Feel free to roast me in the post-race interviews. As here comes Toole looking to the inside. Toyota on Toyota action. They haul it off into turn number 1 side by side. Toole's going to get the spot, if only temporarily. Does have the clear. The 84 is going to slot in behind him, looking for the crossover. Gets into the slipstream down the backstretch. Pulls back up to the tailgate of Toole. And the 84 is going to back it on down from there. Dauscher looking to get the run. So yeah, the paint scheme that Toole is running was run by Ben Rhodes for ThorSport, and I got to tell you, everybody at ThorSport, if you're listening right now, thank you so much for the hospitality you gave to the Sim Racing Media crew when we were at Homestead, Miami. It was a pleasure to meet all you guys. It was an honor to see you guys win the first stage of that race, coming home, making the playoffs, or making the final round of the playoffs. I'm so proud of that team right now. I'll tell you right now, Ben Rhodes, that young man is going to go places. Keep your eye on Ben Rhodes over the next couple of seasons, and I can guarantee you that kid is going to at least win one championship within the next 20 years. And he's probably going to be in the Cup Series within the next 4. Mark my words. Ben Rhodes, a very talented young man, did exactly what he needed to do. I was honored enough to listen to the team communications, and his spotter was amazing. Plain and simple, telling Ben what he needed to do, where he needed to do it, how he needed to do it, and they advanced to the next round of the championships because of how cool and calm that spotter kept Ben. It was amazing. As now the Subaru of Evan Kinney takes back over the race lead. Blaine Woodruff up into second. Kevin Becker up into third. Stephen Tuck and Abram Gaston rounding out your top 5. Greg Barnett currently sits in 6th. But everybody that was leading has already come down pit road. James Lowe is on his first good flyer after coming pit side. And there is Nate Brown in the Gravedigger 5. Now, Brown is a couple of laps down at this point. And the pace that Lowe is setting, first flying lap out of the pits, 30.43. Sorry, 30.64. Which is two full seconds quicker than everybody in front of him right now. 2 full seconds a lap quicker. As Gaston peels off to go pit side. Lowe once again 2 full seconds quicker than anybody in front of him. As a matter of fact, 2.5 seconds for everyone in front of him. As Becker peels off to go pit side. Lowe is your effective race lead, folks. It's Greg Barnett up into third, staying out. Checking in back here with Evan Kinney and Zach Doucher. So, Subaru and Hoonigan versus the Trailer Park Boys. I think that the Hoonigan kids and the Trailer Park Boys, that would be a hell of a mashup show. So if anyone from Hoonigan is listening, you need to get the Trailer Park Boys on there. Or at least Bubbles. At least get Bubbles on there. Ricky, I think, would destroy everything he touched. But Bubbles, yeah, that would be the guy. As now battle for second place, Greg Barnett on the old tires, James Lowe on the new treads. And again, 2 seconds quicker a lap is Low right now. So Barnett gonna have to come pit side. Checking back in here, that's got Winsett and Kinney going after each other. There's Winsett, there's Kinney in that Hoonigan truck, trying to make his way back up through the field. Barnett with the oldest tires on track as Stephen Tuck comes pit side. Now Barnett comes in, hands the lead of the race, back over to James Lowe. Lane Hosler, there he is, effective race, second place. 10 seconds up the road. Wow. That's amazing. 11 seconds is the race lead for James Lowe. Lane Hosler, with a strong finish, is going to move into third tonight. Joey Stiers currently runs in third place. Hosler could take over third in points with a podium finish. There's Evan Kinney working on the 84 Trailer Park Boys Toyota. This is your closest battle on track. The rest of the field more strung out than a homeless shelter on Suboxone. Again, thank you so much for making us a part of your Monday evening. This is Tony Trapasso with Sim Racing Media. You're watching the CleanRacing.net Truck Series Season 13 finale at Charlotte. If you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel with the YouTube algorithm. The more thumbs up a channel gets, the more likely it is to appear on someone's homepage of, hey, you might like this. Oh my goodness. As that battle starts to pitter out, this battle starts to heat up as Brian Toole on a charge right now. Powers his way up into third. Blast by Joey Stiers. And something happened to Nate Brown. Oh yeah, no, that truck is toast. Stiers and Kinney now going after each other. And Stauscher has already gotten by. Kinney now works as Stiers, again, the oldest tires on track. Everybody else pit about 5 to 10 laps later. So Stiers starting to struggle here. We are probably going to see another green flag pit stop. Somewhere around the century mark. It's going to be a splash and go to get you through the last 20 laps of this piece. Because right now, James Lowe has stretched it out to 12.5 seconds. With only 8 trucks left on the lead lap, soon to be 7, is that Scott Winsett right in front of Lowe. Winsett in the 72 currently being scored as the last truck on the lead lap, and bye-bye Scott Winsett. You're locked in a lap down in 8th place. As you've got a second to the good over Blaine Woodruff right now. Checking back in with James Lowe. I mean, this man is on a tear tonight. And is it safe to say that mile and a halves fall right into his wheelhouse? Yes, I believe it is. Because if we take a look at the last 2 mile and a half tracks that we've done, Vegas, race winner, James Lowe. Homestead, Miami, race winner, James Lowe. You know, good grief, man. And we also know James Lowe knows how to get it done on the super speedways, which unfortunately he missed Talladega. So you can catch James not this coming Friday, but next Friday as the iRacing East Series. Oh, no. Okay. Blaine Woodruff getting his lap back the hard way. He is on fresher tires by about 5 laps. But for how long is that going to last? As the 24 and the 85 still going after each other. Kinney's gotten by. Stauscher starts to reel him in. Checking back in here with Stephen Tuck and Scott Winsett. Tuck on the fresher shoes. If I'm seeing this right, Winsett was last down pit road on lap 49. That doesn't seem right. I didn't know you could get that much out of a tank and go fast here at Charlotte. Checking back with this battle for 4th. Kinney currently has it. Stauscher playing duck and peek with him. So James Lowe, 12 3/4 seconds to the good over Lane Hosler, who's got a 5-second gap back to Brian Toole. Toole is only 0.3 of a second in front of Kinney. You can see Kinney there starting to reel him in. And Kinney and Dowsher, there's about 0.3 of a second separation there. And then you're 5 3/4 seconds back to this man, Joey Stiers, who has had speed on the fresher tires. Kevin Becker, another 1.5 behind Stiers, and 4 1/4 seconds up in front of Blaine Woodruff. Avram Gaston, 2.5 seconds back from him in ninth. Running out your top 10 is Stephen Tuck, who's about 2 seconds to the rears of Gaston. But then again, Blaine Woodruff, the last truck being scored on the lead lap in 8th. There he is. As we're going to check back in, there is Brian Toole. Toole having a real strong run here tonight. Currently sits +1, qualified in 4th. Evan Kinney starting to pressure him in that Hoonigan Subaru. Let us know who you're pulling for. As Cheryl and Chris have already checked in. Checking back here, Becker works his way around Stiers. Toole and Kinney now getting hot and heavy. Kinney has caught Toole. Toole's going to be driving out of the rearview mirror as much as he is out the windshield. You can do one eye on each. I've tried it. And Kinney and Toole continue to do battle. Let's take a quick look at the battle box. Hosler 4 seconds up the road as here comes Kinney to the inside. Kinney gets the move done coming off a 2. Toole going to slide in behind him and draft down the back chute here at Charlotte. Backs out a little bit earlier than Kinney. As Scott Winsett brings it pit side for what should be his money stop with 21 laps to go. James Lowe, 13 seconds over Lane Hosler right now, who's 4.5 seconds over this battle for third between Kinney and Toole. Toole starting to fade just a little bit. May have gone too hard too early on the fresh shoes as Kinney made that look relatively easy. As that battle starts to wind down, this battle percent starts to heat up. As that's 9th and 10th. Avram Gaston and Greg Barnett starting to really put the pressure on each other. Gaston has the advantage going into one, though. Oh, boy, what happened? Scott Winsett going the wrong way on the back chute. Let's take a look at what happened here. As he is just coming out of pit road. Trying to get it up to speed. Cold tires. Cold weather conditions. Trying to save it. Drives it, hits the grass. Comes back around, loops it on the track, and caution is out. As we're going to check the weather conditions right now. 77 degree ambient air temperature, partly cloudy skies, 58% water green in the air, 81 degree track temperature. That's relatively cool here for the Charlotte Metroplex, as it's technically May in the sim. So relatively cool conditions still. But with that 58% water grain in the air, these guys are going to be making gobs of horsepower as Lowe goes pit side. Hosler, Kinney, Toole, Dowsher, Becker, Stiers, Woodruff, all following him down. Gaston stays out to get back on the lead lap. He's getting the wave around now, free pass. Stephen Tuck stays out to get his lap back. Barnett and Sykes doing the same. Now, they were all down on laps 79, 83, 83, 75, respectively, in that order. So, 4 in fuel for James Lowe as he lights him up to get some heat into the rears. Hosler going to come out in second. Kinney and Toole coming out in third and fourth. Dauscher in fifth. Becker, Woodruff, and Becker and Woodruff rounding out those who came down pit side that time. Joey Stiers there in ninth place as Gaston technically ahead of him, but he's going to start in front of Gaston. That's going to give us 12 trucks on the lead lap when we go back to green, but there are some trucks that are looking for the wave rounds, starting with Stephen Tuck. There's Greg Barnett, and there is Dan Sykes. As Gaston going to have to drop to the tail end of the field, EOL, end of longest line, or end of line. As Tuck and Barnett giving it up. They're coming pit side this time. Okay. It's a ballsy move. Fred Garcia, the only one to stay out. To try to get one of his laps back. He's currently sitting 2 down. So the 66 is Sykes. Stays out. Chris Smith stays out. As Gaston goes pit side to top off the fuel and get the 4 fresh shoes. Waiting on a little bit of repairs for damage on that truck. Finally gets fueled up and rolls it. Team taking their time, making sure they hit all 5 lug nuts on all 4 tires. And making sure they pack that thing full of fuel to get it to the end. 16 laps to go. About a half a tank will do you. As Joey Stiers dropping back a little bit. There he is in 8th. Gives us 10 trucks on the lead lap. Lights should be going on the pace car this next time by. And so the 3 that stayed out will be getting wave rounds, which is going to put the 66 of Sykes back on the lead lap. Although I don't know how much he's going to be able to work with this, as he's got the oldest tires on track right now, as he was last down on lap 75. Could he make it on fuel? Yeah, he can make it on fuel, but those tires are roached. So Lowe, Hosler, Toole, Kenny, Becker, Dauscher, Zach, I apologize for butchering your last name, Woodruff, Stiers, Gaston, and Sykes, your top 10. This is the battle we've been waiting for. 15 laps to go. It is now a sprint race. This is a short track Saturday night special right now. Heat race shootout for all the marbles. Lowe looking to get his 3rd win on the season. Let me check that. Yes, 3rd win on the season. His 3rd straight 1.5 mile victory. Hosler looking to make some moves in the point standings. Just needs a top 3 to take over 3rd. As the field comes out of turn number 4, pace car gets ready to make that hard left turn. There it goes. Lowe has the button as he leads them into the Geico restart zone. 14 laps to go here at Charlotte. Season 13 getting ready to be put in the books. 14 laps to go. Lowe has a good jump. Hosler slots into 2nd. That's a gaggle of angry wolves back there for third. Evan Kinney currently has it. Zach Dowsher sits in fourth. Brian Toole drops back to third. Here comes Joey Stiers up the inside. You're going to feel like Superman for about 5 laps. These guys are running just that hard right now. Kinney sideways. Oh, wow. How was that not a caution? Blaine Woodruff gets annihilated. Joey Stiers parked there on the infield. He tows it. Hosler just set the quickest first sector of the race. And resets quick lap of the race with a 30.35 seconds. That is flying. That's the fastest lap of the night. Nobody went faster than that in practice either. James Lowe currently holds the lead, doing the Indy Snake down the back chute. Hosler going to slot in. Lowe takes the air off the front spoiler. That is not what Hosler wanted. He's got to put that truck in clean air. Lowe driving like his life depended on it right now. Trying to hold off Hosler. Hosler's got to be thinking big picture. He just needs a top 3 to clinch third place in the standings. Brian Toole running in 5th. His time is running out. We're going to stay with this battle for the lead as it is our closest one. James Lowe leads over Lane Hosler. The SimCube Toyota leading the Bigfoot Ford. James Lowe for Balls Out Racing, 10 laps to go, has a 4/10 of a second lead over Hosler. Hosler doing everything he can to try to reel in that Toyota in front of him. The blue Ford, though, losing ground. Lowe, Hosler, Dowsher up into third, which means he's going to be able to roast me in the... Okay. Yeah, Zach, let's see if we can get that changed. There's your gap for the lead. Half a second to the good. James Lowe brings him out of turn number 4. We are going to be 7 to go. We are now 7 to go. We are going to ride along with the race leader for a lap. This is what James Lowe is seeing. And that's what a lap looks like with your race leader. We were able to get a GoPro on his helmet before we went live. And that was right on the chin bar of that helmet. But James Lowe currently showing the way. 0.8 of a second to the good over Lane Hosler. Hosler fading, but still able to hang on for second, it looks like. Dowsher started to reel him in, though. And I believe he spoke to me before. It's Dusher, I think. I don't know. All those Wisconsin names are strange to me. But we do have a battle starting to brew for second as the 84 Toyota is starting to reel in that 61 Big Blue Ford. Three laps to go. Holzer's got to turn the wick up here if he wants to hold on for second. It's times like this, I wish I had my soundboard. Two laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air. James Lowe with a 2.25 to the good right now. Just has to keep it clean. Coming around the lap truck, the wounded lap truck of Stephen Tuck, who was involved in that little fracas on the restart. That how it didn't bring out a caution, I have no idea. We are going to go back to that after the race. One lap to go. We are racing back to checkers. It's James Lowe now to a second to the good. Lane Hosler has turned the wick up a little bit to keep the 84 behind him. Coming off of turn number 4. Checkered flag is in the air. Your race winner, James Lowe. Lane Hosler crosses for second. Zach Dusher crosses for third. And somebody just hand grenaded one. Sounds. Oh my. What just happened to Becker? You know what? We're going to back that up a lap. There he is coming across the line. Gets into. Ow! Lap truck just annihilated Becker. We're going to hide that for now, as we are going to go back and take a look at what happened on that restart. Or apparently I can't. Well then. There is your race winner, James Lowe, doing his obligatory victory burnouts. And you know what I just realized? I was not in Discord this whole time. Bear with me, folks. As we are going to, as soon as I can find it. There we go. I'm going to go to there. Going to go to there. And then we're going to do this is we reach out now to our race winner, driver of the SimCube number 77, James Lowe. It's been a hell of a season, but you just proved that you are a 1.5 mile master.
Well, I think we got away with one tonight, Matt being gone, but yeah, these tracks just kind of suit my style a little bit, and didn't want to see that last caution there, but we had to fend off lane there, so all in all, good race.
Absolutely, you're able to defend quite well as Hosler was running in your rear view mirror most of the night. Even with that 12-second gap, it was still the James and Lane show all race long.
Yeah, we kind of got snuck out there. I think some guys were trying to play the one stop strategy, which, if they would have made that work, that'd have been incredible. But I had it set from the beginning. I was going to pit on 40 and 80. Stopped a couple laps before, like 77 or something, just to kind of fend off lane there. But yeah, all in all, stuck to the strategy, and it worked out.
Absolutely. James, it's safe to assume you're going to be back for season number 14?
Yeah, I plan on being back and running next season.
All right, so we will see you on December 5th, my friend. But with the race lead and the race win, who do you need to thank tonight?
Just thank everybody watching. I don't know if Mary Alice is out there tonight, but if she's there, hey, you for broadcasting, you always do a great job. Freddie for letting me in the league, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have some teammates.
That sounds like a great game plan, and hopefully we'll see you then. But James, again, congratulations on yet another mile-and-a-half victory, and we will see you on allegedly December 5th for the start of season 14.
I appreciate it, Tony.
And joining me now, the man who was chasing him all night, and I dare say, I got to say this first. Lane Holzler, thank you for being the only one in this league to put a paint scheme from Bigfoot on the right brand truck.
Yeah, I had to do that.
I noticed there's three monster trucks in the field tonight, and you were the only one that had the right brand. But Lane, with a second place finish, that should, if my loose math is correct, that should move you into third place in points.
Man, I hope that would be a good showing.
It absolutely would be, but you missed a few races this season, but you missed one from the looks of it.
Yeah, there was a week that I wasn't feeling super great, and I ended up taking the night off.
But all in all, it's been a strong season for you. You are top 5 no matter what. It's just where in the top 5 you're going to slot into. But Lane, great race tonight. You had one of the two strongest trucks from the green flag dropping. What do you attribute that to?
I honestly have to say that I did not feel like I had one of the strongest trucks. Even throughout practice, I was struggling. I kind of found something that I liked for the long run, and that's the game plan that I kind of went into the race with. Honestly, credit to James. James drove an amazing race. I tried there at the end, and I didn't really have anything for him.
Well, you still came home on the podium. You should be podium in the final standings if my loose math is anything close to what it's going to be. But and again, congratulations on the podium tonight. I know we're going to see you back in season 14 here in a few weeks. Who do you need to thank as we go into the Thanksgiving week?
I got to thank my parents. I know they're watching. Or I hope
Mom.
they're watching. Yeah, and my aunt's watching too, I believe. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, I got to say thanks to you. You've been doing a great job with the broadcast, and thanks to everybody for watching and enjoying this.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's been my pleasure to bring these races to the masses. And Lane, again, congratulations. We will see you on December 5th, my friend.
Thank you.
So that is going to about do it as we take a quick look at the finishing order tonight. James Lowe, Lane Hosler, Zach Dowsher, rounding out your top 3. Kevin Becker, Brian Toole, your top 5. Abram Gaston, Dan Sykes, Greg Barnett, Fred Garcia, and Stephen Tuck, your top 10. Gaston being Sykes being scored as the last truck on the lead lap. Sorry, folks. I shouldn't have had that orange juice. Evan Kinney, Chris Smith, Scott Winsett, Jeremy Morrison, Joey Stiers rounding out your top 15. Blaine Woodruff and Nate Brown rounding up the trucks that did start. And Nate, you and I need to have a conversation. Jason Higginbottom electing to not start, but does get the show-up points back in 18th. Thank you so much for making the CleanRacing.net Truck Series part of your Monday schedule. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media, as we do have racing action 7 nights a week. Even this late into the year, we do have a lot of leagues that are still hot and heavy into their championship runs. So be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media. This is Tony Trapasso. Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that don't forget to give thanks to those around you. Be sure to let your loved ones know that you care. All too often, we don't say that to each other, that we give a crap, you know, and we need to remember here in the Thanksgiving season, be thankful for what you have, not what you want and don't have, because there are so many people out there that are less fortunate than you might be. But in the meantime, remember, folks, as you walk down the road of life this week and until we meet again on December 5th, whatever you do, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.